So there's a particular book I tend to look at pretty much regularly. It's a great book of stories and inspirations, and it's a book called 3 Times High, and I was reading it this week, as I said, I typically do. And one of the stories stuck out with me today, and I thought I would share it with you. There were 2 guys. They were walking down the street in a busy downtown area, and there was noise everywhere. There were trucks rumbling by, there were cab drivers honking their horns, people talking on their cell phones, bicycle messengers blowing their whistles. And abruptly, one of the guys turns to his friends and asks, "Did you hear that sound?" "What sound?" "The sound of a cricket," said the guy. "A cricket?" "There's a cricket in the window box all the way across the street," the guy told his friend. "You've got to be kidding me. There's no way in the midst of all of this noise, trucks rumbling by, cab drivers honking their horns, people talking on cell phones, bike messengers blowing their whistles, you could hear the sound of a cricket in a window box all the way across the street." The guy looked at his friend. "Okay, let's go take a look." So the 2 guys crossed the street, looked in the window box, and sure enough, there was a cricket. "That's unbelievable," the friend says. "How in the world did you do that?" "It's easy," said the guy. "Watch this." The guy reaches into his pocket, takes out a quarter. He held his arm at shoulder height and dropped the quarter. At the first plunk of the quarter hitting the sidewalk, everything stopped. The trucks stopped, cab drivers stopped, the people stopped talking on their cell phones, all the bicycle messengers stopped on their bikes and stopped blowing their whistles. They all turned to see where the coin has fallen. And the guy looked at his friend and he said, "See, it all depends on what you're listening for." What are you listening for? What inspires you to slow down? And what makes you stop? Now, many times, people are listening for the things that affect themselves. It's not that these individuals are selfish by any means. They are preoccupied with the stresses, the anxieties, and the worries that are part of life. Trying to balance financial realities, work, personal time, and family can be complex, which leaves individuals exhausted and limited to think about everything else. Yet how can we look outward, beyond ourselves, to listen to the needs that exist out there? How can we shift our thoughts in order to become more conscious or aware of our world? And how can we stop worrying about the coins and listen for crickets? Last week we celebrated Tu B'Shvat, and as many explain, it is the Jewish Arbor Day. However, more than simply a time to honor the new year of the trees, its observance reminds us of the new life that springs forth from the darkness of winter. By marking this time in anticipation of this new season, it begins the countdown from winter blues to Sunshine City. Yet more than a personal celebration for the disappearance of the cold, and I can imagine we're all wishing it would leave about now, it provides a challenge to become more aware of our surroundings, more aware of the environment, and more knowledgeable about our effect upon it. Although I would like to be more selfless in my reaction to the land and nature, I'm not someone who makes decisions based on environmental concerns. I recycle because the city of Germantown gives me a green push cart. However, there are many times that I throw away a bottle or a newspaper in the trash can because I don't want to make the walk from my kitchen to the garage, no more than 15 feet. My home's temperature is programmed with the thought of money savings as opposed to any energy conservation. And I eat environmentally friendly foods because I don't do the grocery shopping. That means my wife does. So while I might be doing certain things that help the environment, my motives are definitely selfish and negligent. I fail to acknowledge my outward responsibility to take care of our space. And people come and go, yet in Hebrew, ha'aretz le'olam omedet, the earth is forever. And one of our basic Jewish principles is that all of us have a role and a responsibility in the caring for the future home of our children and their children. Now, the modern Jewish thinker Abraham Joshua Heschel stated, there are three ways in which we may relate ourselves to the world. We may exploit it, we may enjoy it, we may accept it in all. We will sometimes exploit it. We will many times enjoy it. What I ask us to do this evening is at times accept it with awe. Now, what does this mean? Beyond coming to the Eco Expo this Sunday and learning about the ways in which we can become more environmentally aware, I encourage us to think of the cricket's call. For as spring and summer quickly approach, hearing the noise of the cricket will be commonplace. And when we hear that constant ticking, I push us to see it as a prompt. Maybe to cue the Coke drinker to throw one of those cans or bottles into a recycling bin. A reminder to use one less napkin at a table or a restaurant. A prompt to turn off the water when brushing our teeth, or a sign to turn the thermostat 1 degree warmer when that hot summer sun comes. These simple measures might not be extravagant, and many more might not be either. But I hope that they're brought about by the cricket call this year, and it can provide each of us an active way to accept our world with awe, thus taking better care of our environment today for the generations following. Shabbat Shalom.